It's time to bring in Mike Cozzi. Morning, Mike.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
So I'm reading different newspaper stories and different sports magazines about the World Series and the game last night. Just about every sports writer mentioned what you mentioned about how the coach blew it, and it's a good thing he did blow it, because I didn't realize this happened during the game. But this is what I don't understand about Major League Baseball. They do these tests, right? COVID-19 tests. How in God's name can they give somebody a COVID-19 test, and then in the middle of the game, go to a player, have to take him out of the game, and put a mask on him just to sit in the bench area? What happened? What would have happened, Mike, if they found out earlier that he had COVID-19, and then they would have had to postpone the game?
I would have said, I want to take another test.
Yeah. Well, this was his third test. You would have think, out of caution's sake, they would have just kept him out. But no.
I would have asked the team. I would have said, he's positive. Do you want him here or not? And let the team vote on it.
That would have even been absolutely. That's acceptable.
And he'd probably be sitting on a bench.
Yeah, and that's acceptable. But you'll let other people around him know, and teammates are teammates, and they'll support their teammate, and they'll say, you know what, we've been around him now for a whole year, so I would be willing to bet you there wouldn't have been any problem. It's just another way the Major League Baseball screwed up. But it's amazing the way everybody lined up. And the pitcher that got pulled didn't criticize his manager at all.
I would have.
No, he didn't.
I would have been begging for a trade.
He did say he was pitching one of the best games he's ever pitched.
Well, he kind of said it with out of the side of his mouth. Huh. When he said, I was pitching the best game of my life. Yeah. Well, if you need to take me out while I'm pitching the best game of my life, I guess I shouldn't be pitching for you when I'm not pitching that good. That's what it means. And almost
every writer that I read about 8 or 9 stories, thinks that you leave him in the game, the Rays win the game, and there's a 7th game that's possibly coming up.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it for 2-3 years now, that this thing that Tampa does with his pitchers and everybody else has adopted doesn't work. Well, it happened on the biggest stage in the biggest game of the year. But, it's like whack-a-mole. You ever see the game whack-a-mole?
Oh, yeah.
Where the thing keeps coming up and you keep hitting it in the head? Well, that's what the world's become. It's become a big whack-a-mole game. You keep doing the same things wrong, but you keep on doing them, even though you keep getting hit in the head. Yeah. So you just lost the World Series. You just pulled this guy out in one of the best games he's ever pitched, and you don't see a problem with it. It's all right. It's okay. We'll be back next year. Yeah, okay. Good luck with that.
Hey, well, once again, this season I think has set baseball back a long, long way. But
oh yeah, I couldn't care less about it. It's up there with football right now. Different reasons, but it's up there with football.
Well, speaking about football, what a spectacular game we have for tonight.
Well, I got my pick. It's solidified. It's perfect tonight. You can go first.
All right. Well, it's the 1-6 Falcons going against the 3-4 Panthers. And it's at Carolina. And because the Falcons seem to want to lose every game at the end, I'll pick the Panthers.
Well, where do I go for my picks?
You go to the kitty litter box.
And it's a what kind of box?
It's a
kitty box, right?
Yeah. So you're going.
And the Panthers are a
form of a kitty, yeah.
So we're going with the Panthers.
All right. So we've got 2 Panthers there. 2 Panthers. I'm even looking for something that might be good to watch over the weekend.
There's nothing.
Well, there's the Steelers-Ravens game. That should be a pretty good game, actually. But that's, looking at it, that's really about it. I mean, what else you've got? I'm just looking to... Patriots-Bills is not even going to be an exciting game this year. Well, you got the Seahawks versus the 49ers. That should be a pretty good game. And the tale of ineptitude, the 2-5 Cowboys against the 2-4-1 Eagles.
See, the good thing about the weekends now is horse racing's over by like 5:30, maybe 6 in Kentucky. I have plenty of time at night to do my schoolwork.
That's right.
I don't have to watch these ridiculous football games or anything like that. So I'm well prepared for my week in school.
I can tell you, I like watching football, all sorts of football, but I have not sat through a Sunday this season where I've watched football exclusively. I'll get up, I'll go away for an hour or two. I never used to do that. Never.
I'd sooner watch replays of Huckleberry Hound and Yogi Bear than football.
Yosemite Sam.
That's a good one, too. They're banned. They said they're too violent.
Well, I know. Violent. You want Tom violence? I don't know if you're old
Put the
enough.
news on.
Do you remember Tom and Jerry?
Oh, yeah. They were great. Bugs Bunny was the best.
Tom and Jerry used to beat the living Jesus out of one another. And then you used to have in the Bugs Bunny show, you always had the hunter going trying to shoot Bugs Bunny.
I loved all the subliminal messages on Bugs Bunny. They were great. Once you got older, you realized, wow, kids watch this? That's pretty cool.
I know. All right. So anything else in sports at all?
Nothing. There's no sports.
Now, what about tomorrow? You got some racing for tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll get some races out of Churchill and Belmont for the weekend. I'm sure of it. It's closing weekend at Belmont. Then it's 6 months at Aqueduct. Yay. Hey, at least they're running. But it's going to be interesting to see what the great leaders of New York do, because you have Belmont Park, which is a cavernous open racetrack, and they didn't allow any people in it, not even like 10. However, Aqueduct's attached to a casino, and the casino's open. Now you're going to racing at Aqueduct. So how are they going to justify not having people at the racetrack at Aqueduct?
You could have had 20,000 people at Belmont, and people still wouldn't have been able to shout to say hello to one another.
You couldn't get 20,000 people away if you were giving away steaks. But on a Saturday, maybe 5,000-6,000. They wouldn't walk near each other even if they tried. That'd be like putting 5,000 or 6,000 people inside of the Dallas stadium. Yeah. Exactly.
It would be that way. That's how I was the time I went there. I was just amazed at the sheer size. Amazed. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about just the grandstand. Mm-hmm. It's like the first time you go visit Indianapolis and you see where the Indy 500's held. Mm-hmm. There's golf courses in the middle of that, racetrack.
And I really loved what Monmouth Park did. Okay, when you go to Monmouth Park without a pandemic, there's very few tellers. Okay. Yeah. So you bet on the betting machines that you go up to and you punch the screen, right? Uh-huh. So they had very few screens open because of the pandemic. So isn't that wrong? Because then you're forcing all your people to go to very few screens instead of having your very few people go to very many screens. So doesn't that make sense? If you have 500 people using 500 machines, the likelihood of going to a contaminated machine is very small. But if you have 500 people going to 10 machines, the chances of coming across something bad is pretty high, right?
Yeah, and also, if you're worried about it, this is the whole thing. Why, if you're worried about it,
stay home. If you're worried about it,
no, then just put a pair of gloves on when you're by the machine.
Yeah, you might as well wear a hazmat suit. Wear a hazmat suit to the beach.
But just put a pair of stupid rubber tips.
But the point is that these things that people are so-called doing to protect people aren't protecting them. Like, can't stand in line to vote, but you can go to Walmart with 5,000 people in the store. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Didn't mean to get political, but it makes no sense. When you got all these machines that you can use at a racetrack and you limit them, you're forcing people to use the same machine. Isn't that bad stuff? I don't know. Makes you think about the whole thing.
All right. Mike, I'll think about it and come back to you tomorrow. We'll talk about the NFL.
Yeah, we need some sports. There is none.
We certainly do. Take care.
Have a great day, guys.
Mike Cozzi with a check on sports this morning on Robin Hood Radio.